The Alpha Sessions with Emma Nouriel.
This is The Alpha Sessions. I'm Emma and I'm here with Emma Wilson.
Hello.
Hello, how you doing?
Fine, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, good, thank you. I stumbled across you and your music through just searching, it's a bit bizarre actually, acoustic in Watford.
Okay, that's good.
When you search it on Google, it comes up with a Twitter, a Facebook, a MySpace, and all sorts of fun stuff. And it says that you're a teacher, songwriter, singer, promoter. Is there anything that you don't do?
There are many things that I don't do, like skydiving, things like that. No, I'm a bit of I do a few different things, kind of spread myself quite widely across Watford.
Okay.
But I think all of the other things that I do, as well as singing, songwriting, because that's the main thing that I'm kind of trying to achieve success in. But I think all the other things kind of help me do that as well. So it's all contributing.
So did the music come first?
Yes, the music came first. I've played since I was really young, so the promotion and the teaching has only started very recently. So
okay, and then what sort of music are you into?
I like loads of music, actually, loads of different genres and styles. I think I like listening to older music, like Joni Mitchell, sort of kind of before my time, but I still enjoy it. The Beatles, Monkees, artists like that, and also current artists like Jake Bugg and the XX and all sorts of things.
Do you feel like some of their music is reflected on your music or songwriting?
Yeah, I think I think it's quite hard not to take some influences when you're listening to great artists. I mean, well, I think they're great artists anyway. It's hard not to take influences from them just naturally. I wouldn't say I was particularly the same as any of them, but I think I take a few sort of influences. So some of the guitar stuff I take from, the XX and things like that, and then more vocal stuff from Joni Mitchell. I'm not saying I'm as good as her, but that sort of influences that as well.
Okay, and how long have you been playing guitar for?
I've been playing guitar since I was really young, actually. Probably when I was at primary school, I started learning classical guitar. So that's nothing like I'm doing now. But started learning classical guitar when I was about, I think I was in year 4, so that's like 8 or 9 years old, something like that. And then continued to play classical guitar up until I was sort of 14, and then started learning more sort of chords and strumming and singing, songwriting stuff. So that was a bit more exciting, a bit more of my thing.
And for people that can't see how incredible your guitar is, and the colours on it are amazing, do you want to describe it for us?
It's a red hollow body Ibanez, sort of a jazz guitar. It's quite new, actually. I'm quite proud
try
of
and get
it.
a photo of it so everyone can see it online. But it really is incredible.
Thank you. It's pretty new, so I'm quite proud of it. So
brilliant stuff. I'm looking forward to hear you play it in a bit, actually. So you've been doing quite a lot of local gigs recently.
Yeah.
Like I said before, we stumbled across you typing in acoustic Watford, and you've been playing the Horns.
Yeah, the Horns is a favourite venue.
What was that like?
Yeah, the Horns is always great. We've got some great hosting as well. They do an open mic on a Wednesday, which is always in good attendance. That's run by Shane Lamont, who is also a very well-known Watford musician. And then they do live music nights as well, which are run by Pete Curtis, and he's a great guy as well. And they're just very very supportive of local talent and local musicians, and they've got great sound there as well, and they look after their artists, so it's always nice to play there.
Yeah, okay. And obviously with most of these nights, as far as I'm aware, it's normally not just you on the stage. There's normally like a bill of you and maybe 3 or 4 others. Is that the case?
Yeah, that is the case. I'm always happy to play around the Watford lot, because all the other bands in Watford, there's so much talent in the local area, and it's just a great treat to be able to play with.
Do you find that you end up almost like meeting them again and again in different venues, sometimes because obviously there's such a limited number of you and you end up playing all sorts of venues, or do you get to meet loads of new people all the time?
Yeah, there are a few regulars that you see around, so, like Late Day Breakers, which are my fiance's band, actually, so I'm quite biased, but they're a good band that play the local area. And also, as you get further into London as well, there's a few other people that I see regularly at those gigs as well. People like Minnie Birch, who's another Watford artist that we get put on the same bill quite a lot. So,
do you prefer playing the local gigs, or do you prefer playing in central town?
They're completely different. You could, I mean, some gigs that I've played further into London can be a lot better than local. It just varies, you know. Every single time you could play the same venue twice, and it would be completely different both times. So every single gig is different depending on the crowd and the atmosphere and everything. So.
Okay, let's forget about what you've already played. If you could play somewhere in the future, and collaborate with anyone and play in a particular venue anywhere in the world, what would it be?
That's
and
a
with
really
who?
hard question. I think actually, if it was possible, obviously it's not, but I would love to have some of the old artists, some of the kind of like people like Joni Mitchell and stuff. I'd love to play with her, but obviously that's not possible.
Are we talking about a big venue, a small venue, whereabouts?
I've never played. Well, I've played quite a lot of gigs around London. I've never played huge venues. I always play quite small venues. Doesn't mean to say that they're not busy, but the smaller venues I quite like because they're a bit more intimate and you get to interact with your crowd a lot more. You can sort of judge their reaction quite well, and it's always nice to meet the crowd after a gig as well, to go and sort of talk to people, gauge what they thought of it. It's always nice to have a little bit of praise after a gig as well from the unbiased.
Okay, that's brilliant. Is there any gigs particularly that stick out for you for a highlight, or?
I think there's a few gigs that I've played in the past that I think, well, most of them just merge into one really, because I try and gig so regularly that you just kind of forget where you've played and forget what you've been doing. But there's a few gigs that I've played which I always prefer the ones where it's the ideal situation really, where it's a packed room and everyone's quiet. That's what the best situation is. Because I've had gigs before where I've played and it's been really packed, which is good because obviously you got a lot of people there, but no one's watching, no one's listening, not just for me but for any of the musicians, you know, that like the venues that don't typically have music on, so people don't go to specifically see live music. But I like the small intimate ones, like pub gigs and things like that. I really like playing those because they're just more more intimate, and you feel a bit closer to your audience. Like I played a gig at the Junction in Harrow. It's just a small pub. They've got like an upstairs room it just had a few tables and chairs, and it was quite a small room, but it was absolutely packed out and everyone was completely silent, you know, and obviously until the end of the song you don't want them to be silent at the end of a song because you want them to clap, but it was but that was a really good gig because you feel like everyone's listening. There's no point in playing to a whole room if no one's listening. But that's probably one of the gigs that stands out for me.
Okay, so you're going to play a track for us now.
Yep.
What's it called?
This one's called Sailor.
And what's it about?
It's about a sailor. It's about a drowning sailor, so it's pretty sad, but yeah, keep your head up, you'll be all right. Okay.
Souls from the ground.
to the waves. Show your palms. The future path for you has been made. Sweet water, his trident presents no mercy. Sweet sailor, the gods have given you to the sea. Raise your hands, surrender to the waves. Show your palms. The future path for you has been made. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, well, let's talk more about your music now. I promise I'll stop about the gigs. You have been songwriting for quite a while now.
Yes.
You must have quite a collection of tracks. Do you have a favourite? Or
I think my songs are slow. I mean, if I do say so myself, my songs are getting better and better, I think. I always try to make the song that I'm writing better than the one that I wrote before. So I've just finished sort of putting together about 4 or 5 songs for a CD, which isn't finished yet. I'm in the process of recording, but yeah, I've got a couple of songs which I can play for you as well from that CD when it's finished.
do we have a potential date yet, or
Not
quite?
yet, no. I've basically done what I can on the song, so I've recorded the guitar and the vocals, and I'm just getting a few musicians that I know, because obviously gigging around the local area you get to know musicians, and there are some great ones, so getting a couple of other musicians to kind of put their, because I can't play any other instruments, so getting them to put their stamp on it as well, which is always nice to have a bit of collaboration.
Do you like to direct it, or do you let them put their input on it?
I'm a little bit bossy in the studio, but I think it's always nice to have someone else's opinion as well, because otherwise, I don't always know best.
But it's your music, so you're bound to feel a bit precious about it.
Oh, I always have the final say, but yeah, it is nice to have other people's input though, because they might play something that you would have never thought of putting on your songs, yet it sounds so much better than you could have ever imagined. So, and that has happened a couple of times. So, it's kind of proved to me that I need to sort of accept that other people might, have a better input than me on certain things.
Okay, and you've done some amazing covers. I was checking out your YouTube channel before you came in. I hope you don't mind.
No, that's fine.
And you've done some really, really surprising ones, and you're really good at putting, if you don't mind me saying, your own stamp on ones that I guess would be easy to just copy the way they do it and sound quite similar. But you don't. You always like to put your own. Do you have a favourite, or?
Well, I've always liked covering songs that are by male artists, just because I think if you're gonna do YouTube covers and things, you need to make it stand out, because there's so many out there. You need to do something that's a little bit different, and if you're a female singing a male song, it's automatically going to be different, isn't it? Even if I sung it and played it exactly the same as the original, it's going to be different just because it's a girl singing it. So that's what I try and do. But recently I've started doing a couple of other covers. I try and do things that are a little bit unexpected and different to the style that I usually play. So I've got a new cover that I'm kind of learning. Well, I know it, but I'm just kind of getting it prepared to put out there, because it's not quite ready yet. But that thrift shop song, then it's a new kind of like fad. I don't know what it is.
I
but,
think I know which one you mean.
Yeah, it's got that song. I'm sort of learning. The rapping is the hardest bit, though. I'm not a rapper, and that is pretty difficult. And so Amy Winehouse, "Love Is a Losing Game." That's a new one that I started covering as well. But also, I like to cover pop songs and slow them down and just do them acoustically. As
One
well.
that stuck out for me particularly was that David Guetta one.
Yeah, was that Titanium?
Yeah. Which is one that you'd expect to be quite dancey and electro, and then I saw you sing it and I was like, wow, that's so different.
It was pretty high, that song as well, so it's quite a challenge.
We're going to play the second of the two track, the final track now.
Yes.
Shall I leave it to it?
Yes, you can do this one. Doesn't have a name yet, but I'm open to any suggestions. It's a bit of a love song, kind of. It's a little bit more positive than my other songs, so I thought I'd try and write something a bit happier. It's still not that happy, but it's a bit happier. So yeah, I can play this for you. Okay.
Okay.
Sound, it beats for you, and that's only the start. Take your sugar-coated love and mix it up with me to make a perfect piece of art. I do too. This pretty little world we've got where it's just me and you. You took me to another place, a place I never knew. It's just a sweet and lovely town that glistens when the sun shines through. Take my hand and lead me down the road, binding and winding together we'll grow old, taking every step in time like that story I once told. You told me that you love me, and I told you I do too. This pretty little world we've got where it's just me and you. You took me to another place, a place I never knew. It's just a sweet and lovely town that glistens when the sun shines through. Thank you.
Amazing.
Thank you very much.
It was one of those things where I almost forgot we were in the studio for a minute, you know, when you just get lost in your own world. It was
Thank
amazing. So where can we next see you live?
I've got a couple of gigs coming up. I think I'm playing around the end of this month. I'm playing for Ox Jam. It's in Barringtons, I think, in Leighton Buzzard.
Yeah.
And that's just a little sort of cafe. They do a nice little acoustic. It's called Acoustic Afternoons.
Oh, nice.
So you get a few artists down and they play. I think it's around the 23rd. I'm not entirely sure, but I'll be updating it on my website, Facebook things.
Which is?
Facebook is facebook.com/Emma L. Wilson Music, because someone had taken Emma Wilson Music.
No.
So I had to do Emma L. Wilson Music. So remember the L. And yeah, so I'll be updating on there. And then I've got 15th of April at the Horns in Watford, which is one of my favourite local venues. So that's nice to play. And also playing with Late Day Breakers as well on that date. And they're always a crowd pleaser. So.
Well, brilliant. Thanks so much for coming in.
Okay, thank you.